Hi, how you doing? So I just want to take a minute to brag on Akvile. She's a most amazing psychic. She is so good. We just did a session a while ago, and I just feel compelled to share this with her. I just admire her so much, what she can do and how she does it. So we just gave us a session, and a lot of our people that come to us for sessions have gone to a lot of other psychics and tarot card readers and astrologers and entity removal people, things like that. And so what was just amazing today is, we're working with our client and trying to sort out what's going on. So the first thing is Akvile is seeing a lot of stuff. I mean, we've got secret space program stuff. Uh, we've got entities, and just all kinds of things, right? So as we're talking to the client and stuff back and forth, we're trying to sort out where to enter the case and what to address first. So Akvile found this phenomena. It's like a cloaking. Like, think of a Harry Potter cloak, and he turns invisible. But this cloak, people can see you, but they see a different version of you. Okay, so the cloaking projects a different persona, and it can piss people off. People look at you and they don't like you, or there's something about you, and you're like, "What? That's not me. I'm not like that." Right. It's spiritual and advanced ET technology. Okay. So anyway, Akvile can see this sort of stuff. And when she found it, it was like, okay, how do we remove this? Because there were some entity issues going, and there were also some other things. And okay, where do we start? Okay, we're going to start with the cloaking thing, and I'm going, oh my God. There's different ways to address it, right? So anyway, long story short, the cloaking phenomena was also connected with an entity, and the entity was actually it started out in early childhood. This being came to help, with good intentions to help the client, and just things go sideways and stuff. And the entity, you can call it an angelic being or whatever you want to label it, but it looked like a person and looked like a copy of the client. It's kind of looked the same persona, sort of like. It could take on other forms, most likely, but this was it. So we did this technique we called the parts party, or it's also called inner family therapy, and it's got a few other names. Tony Robbins has something called archetypes, where he has the warrior within talking to the sage within, or talking to the healer or the child within. Okay, and then we've got Carl Jung with his archetypes: the rebel, the jester, and the child within, and all these different personas. So anyway, the consciousness that we are shifts into being the character we're playing in this life. But then the character that we're playing in this life gets involved in things, and the consciousness that we are can shift beingness and stop being the nice guy and be the dick for a little while. Why are you being such an asshole today, Rich? Because being a nice guy wasn't working. Okay. And we don't normally notice this shift consciously, but we do it all the time. And sometimes we got to get pushed real hard before we flip, and then we start acting differently. Or we act one way to the kids, another way with the neighbors, and another way when we go see mom and dad, right? There's these different personas we shift into. All right. So those personas are not the real you, but you become those things. All right. So this phenomena, the way life works, with consciousness. You can use this to do entity release work. And the deeper understanding is that the entity is helping the persona that you're being. So it's a persona, and this is a persona that it's helping. And the real you, the consciousness that you are, has identified with the persona or the ego or who or whatever you're being in this life. So the way you can address it is to, if I were working with you and you had entity issues, it doesn't matter if they're sex demons or angelic beings gone sideways or incubus, succubus called in to play around a little bit and you change your mind, or there's some creepy reptilian thing or some spidery or squid thing, it doesn't matter. There's lots of different techniques for different kinds of entities if they're bothering you. But, okay, this particular one was there to help originally, and it was taking on the form of lookalikes, looked like the client. And so how do you do this? It was getting pretty aggressive. Finally, we were able to sort out. First, it had the cloaking thing, and people were seeing the client in a different light. But then, as we talked to it and we sorted it out, Akvile and I, we could see that there was an entity, and the client saw and felt the entity, not just the cloaking thing. So now we got the source of the cloaking, all right, and then we helped the client talk to the entity about this, what they have in common, what was its original intent, when did it first get there. Come to find out, it came in when our client was a child, and it was here to help. It just wanted to help. And things went all fucking sideways, and failures on all sides, and it got kind of aggressive. It was a rough family environment. And so the being, the angelic being, or whatever you want to call it, that was there to originally help, started failing and started getting an attitude and kind of possessive, you might say, with the one that they came here to help. And then all shit, went sideways, and it's been a bother ever since, right? So here we are, working it all out, and finally, we were able to determine the entity's original reason for coming, and that it just wanted to help. So, there was, flow at some love and compassion, understanding, things like that. And finally, it stopped being aggressive and realized that the client was a decent being with compassion and caring. And so it led up, and then we got the entity's story, and we were able to make the entity feel safe enough to leave. Okay, and we helped the entity find another place to go. Didn't really want to go, but we helped it feel safe and secure and gave it some ideas on what it could do and where it could go, and it left. But as we're doing this, Akvile communicates to me that there's another entity higher up. So we didn't mention it to the client, but once that entity left, then client says, I just saw a reptilian looking face, the higher up, just right there, right now. And this was like the third or fourth thing that Akvile, the super psychic, saw before it happened. And it was just blowing me away how spot on she is. And I told her after session, you are absolutely amazing. You are so good at this. And she's modest, and she goes, she's not a bragger like that. She operates with very little ego in this world. and especially with praise and wonderful acknowledgments. She's very modest about it, and so she won't brag on herself, but I will. She's really good. And then the client said, I've gone to other people, and they were saying the same thing. So Akvile was picking up, as were the other psychics, picking up certain things that indicated to the client, and then Akvile saw that too. So that was some of the earlier stuff. But man, she could just see that stuff, and it's like bang, bang, bang. And because she can see it, it helps the client tune into it, helps the client communicate with it. And then I have, my, I'm not modest like Akvile. I have over 30 years of dealing with these entities and a lot of different techniques. And Akvile knows a lot of different techniques too. She's a super fast learner. She's literally genius IQ. She will never say that, but she is. She really is. She's like, bang. She can do all kinds of things. Computer programming and just all kinds of amazing things that she does. So anyway, I have all these different techniques. Once we define and get it all sorted out, then we determine what technique that we're going to use to address a particular kind of entity, and then we go for it. And so today we used the parts party technique to communicate with the entity. So anyway, it went really good. And the reason I'm sharing this is that some of you out there need help, want help, having been interfered with by entities. You're a targeted individual. You feel like you're being stalked. You feel like you're being monitored or molested literally in your sleep. Some people are being abducted physically at night, and then they don't remember it in the morning, but they got a funny feeling and a weird mark on their body. Oh my gosh. So we can see stuff like that. And then we can take steps to protect you from that, get the entities out of your space, what caused them to come in the first place. We like to do that. We like to find out where it all started so that we can undo it from there. And get them out of your space. We teach you new techniques for protection, for anti-attraction stuff. Why was I attracting this? We can fix that up one way and another. And sometimes it has to do with past life trauma or engagement with this other entity or being. Or sometimes they're not just one being, they're a group of beings, and they're not just astral entities. They're like secret space program stuff or higher dimensional reality, advanced ET stuff. They're messing with you. And so we have different techniques that we use to help you understand what's going on, and then we start getting to work on clearing it out. And so she just blew, I realized just blew me away today. How it's just like pop, 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 pop. I go, wow, you got a headache? Is that easy? What? How? No, it just comes to her. She's clearer. She just does clean slate thing when we get into a session, and she's just blank. And then I talk to the client, and as we're talking, poof, stuff pops up, vivid imagery, and she can shuffle through it just like in the movies where the psychics or the superheroes or whatever they're called, the mutants, whatever, is pushing through these strips. They're like time strips. Lock in, zoom in, but she sees it 3D, holographic, feels it, the whole thing, right? And she sees so much that we can't share it all in one session. We tighten it up, ask, what does the client want to focus in on and address? So then we get, and then expand on that. We talk it through. We figure out what the best approach is. What do we address first? Things like that. And then we do it. And we release the entities, help the client let go of the entity, help the entity let go of the client, and stuff like that. And we give the client some new skills and techniques so they can do it on their own. And then new skills, tips, and tricks for protecting their energy space. Sometimes you got to patch up. Sometimes there's a crack, a breach in your energy field from maybe doing a little bit too much entertainment drugs or substances, too many shrooms or something, where it creates a breach so you can expand your consciousness. But when you get done with the trip and you're back to normal, sometimes there's a breach not closed. So you've kind of got a crack or a breach in your psychic energy shielding, which is normal, that keeps you more or less here, because you want to be here, focused here, and not like all the time. So it's kind of a metaphorically energy shield sort of thing. And they can have a breach. Akvile can see those, and we can just patch it up. Band-aid? No, we're going to get out the Heliarc, man. We're going to smooth that off and fix it up so it's got integrity again, and we fix those little problems that might have accidentally happened. Yeah, while you were out tripping. You see? Okay. All right. So I just wanted to share this with you. I said that, didn't I? So I guess I did. All right. So you guys take care of yourself and gals. And if you need help with this sort of weird stuff, we're here to help. Okay? All right. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.